Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Skylar, and in this video I'm hoping to give you an overview of what it takes to build a decent team in Cookie Run Kingdom, as well as a look at which characters are worth your time and which characters you might want to pass on. This video is coming to you courtesy of a comment that was left on another video of mine where a viewer mentioned that they'd like to know which cookies are worth investing in and which ones they should avoid so that they can best utilize their resources. If you guys leave comments like that on my video, I'll do my best to try and incorporate all of your feedback and provide more guide videos for you if I feel like I have the knowledge to do so that you can be more well informed about Cookie Run Kingdom and enjoy the game that much more. So in this video, we are going to talk about cookie rarities, XP jellies, basic components of a good cookie team, and then we're going to go through and rank the different cookies based on how good they are and how heavily you should be willing to invest in them. Keep in mind that this is going to be a mix of my personal opinion as well as general community consensus, so take everything with a grain of salt, and ultimately it's your game. Play the way you want to have fun. This video is being made during the Cotton Cookie promo event patch, so it'll be current as of that time, although you can probably use this as a good baseline for which cookies are good and bad for quite a long time to come. If you want the latest updates on which cookies have gotten better or worse over time and whether or not good cookies are actually worth investing in, then just stay tuned to the channel for my future videos on patches that come out in Cookie Run Kingdom, where I'll cover all that information and more. So with that being said, let's get into the video, and we're going to start off by talking about Rarity. So Cookie Run Kingdom is a game where rarity matters, okay? So when you start out the game, you're going to have a mix of common, rare, and epic cookies. There are 5 rarities in Cookie Run Kingdom. You have the lowest rarity, which is common with the brown background. You have the second one, which is rare with the blue background. Then epic with the pink background. And then you have your legendary, which has a special background, and you have your ancient cookies, which also have a special background. So in those 5 different rarities, you kind of have them split a little bit. The top 2 rarities are basically always worth investing in. The cookies in the legendary and ancient categories are awesome and definitely worth your time and your resources. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the common and rare cookies are generally not worth investing in any more than you have to. You want to replace them as soon as possible. The bulk of your team building and the characters that you're going to have to decide, are they good, bad, do I want to invest or not, are going to come from the epic tier, the one right in the middle. This is where most of the cool cookies with cool mechanics and things are at, and this is where even within the same role, you'll get some cookies that are good and some that are bad. So generally speaking, you can follow those rules. And let's just say it, there is one special cookie category that is the special cookie. Currently, this contains Sonic and Tails. They're kind of an exception, but in terms of power level, they're about on par with an epic cookie, so we're going to talk about them as epic cookies as well. So now that we've talked about rarity, I want to give you a quick tip on EXP jellies and investing your experience points into your cookies. So to do that, we're going to take a look at one of my low-level epic cookies. So we'll look at Kumiho Cookie, who is a level 4 cookie here. Let's go to level her up, and let's put her at the max that I can do right now. So I could get her up to level 38. So that's a good 34 levels that we could accomplish with 50,000 XP. It's not too bad. Okay, so let's take a look at what it takes to get one of my level 40 epic cookies up 1 level. Let's just go to level 41. 84,830 XP. It takes almost double the amount of XP to go from 40 to 41 on this epic cookie than it does to get 34 levels on another cookie. So the takeaway I want you to have from this video is that if you have been investing in a cookie with your XP and things, it's not that big of a deal as long as you haven't gone past 40. Getting your cookies up to level 40 is actually pretty easy and doesn't take that much XP. It takes maybe 50 to 60,000 XP, and you're going to get a lot of that. You're going to be able to level up quite a few cookies. I myself have most of my epic cookies that are worth messing with at level 40. That's a really good baseline for being able to swap cookies in and out and try new tactics and new things without feeling too underpowered. Level 40 isn't going to get you into high levels of PvP or the farthest levels of PvE content or anything, but you can definitely do some middle tier PvP and some, middle tier PvE stuff, and just check out different builds and characters at level 40. So if you've been investing in a cookie that later on we talk about and I'm like, hey, don't invest in this cookie, it sucks, don't freak out about the fact that you've invested in it. And don't worry too much about putting levels into a cookie before level 40. Definitely think hard about whether you want to promote a cookie from level 40 to 41 or 42 or 43, because then you start digging into a lot of precious XP that could go towards broadening the amount of cookies that you have available for your teams, or could take away a lot of XP from a cookie that maybe you get and decide that you'd rather level that one up. Well, you've got a lot of XP invested into a cookie that maybe you're not using anymore. So think very hard about leveling beyond level 40, but it's pretty casual until you get to that point. Okay, so let's jump in now and take a look at what it takes to build a team in Cookie Run Kingdom. So we're going to go over to our world exploration here, and we're going to open this up. And we're going to jump in and we're just going to clear out a team here. So in Cookie Run Kingdom, you have 3 rows, front, middle, and rear. Generally speaking, for a team, these are the rules I'm going to lay out. Just remember, there are exceptions to every rule, especially in PvP, but there are exceptions to every rule. However, the general rule, what you're going to want to do is in your front row, you're going to want to have a cookie that can absorb damage and protect your party. That's usually going to be your defense cookies and your charge cookies. So you're going to want to have at least one defense or charge cookie in your front row. So let's go ahead and pop in a good old tank. We'll throw in milk cookie here as our tank. Then in the back, you're going to want to have a cookie that can heal your team and keep their health topped off. Usually, this is going to be your support cookies or your healing cookies. So either one, some supports will do buffs or debuffs, but some of them do heals as well, and then all your healing cookies will heal. So let's go ahead and throw in a healing cookie. We'll use good old Custard Cookie the Third here and put him back there as our healer. After that, you're going to want to have at least 2 DPS cookies that can deal damage and actually kill the enemies. And that's going to come from your ambush, magic, ranged, and bomber cookies. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. There are some charge cookies and support cookies that can actually do pretty good damage, but generally you're going to want to have 2 of any of these cookies on there. So let's go ahead and let's add some in. We'll go ahead and we'll get Chili Pepper in there. We'll give her a little time in the spotlight here. And let's go ahead and throw in, we'll do Squidding Cookie. So we've got our 2 DPS cookies in there. Finally, in that 5th slot, you can kind of do whatever you want. If you feel like your tank's not strong, put in another tank. If you feel like your heals are kind of weak, put in some more heals. If you're doing okay and you're like, I just want more damage, put in damage. Put in a support. Put in a neat cookie that summons something, or one that you just think is cool, and fill out the rest of your team. But generally, you're going to want to have someone to absorb damage, someone to heal the team, and at least 2 people that can whack on the enemies and kill them off. Along with this, I would recommend when you're starting out that you use, for your treasures, the Gatekeeper's Ghost Horn. This is going to increase the defense for all your cookies. This really helps a lot, especially before you're able to start getting a lot of toppings and putting on topping sets and everything to boost the survivability of all the cookies in your team. I would also recommend that you use the Squishy Jelly Watch. This reduces the cooldown for your cookies and makes it so that they can use their skills way more often. And then finally, if you have it available, I would use the Old Pilgrim Scroll as your final treasure. This will increase attack for all your cookies, and even your healing cookies scale off of attack a lot of the time, so they'll even heal better by having the extra attack. This is an epic treasure though, so you may not have it, and if you don't, then I recommend you just kind of pick whatever you think your team is going to need. I do recommend a passive. If you have the Grim Scythe, that's going to help your damage as well by giving your cookies crit, so that's an okay substitute for the scroll if you don't have it. Otherwise, just put in whatever you have that you think is going to benefit your team the best. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to put the scroll in there. This is an okay looking team. Maybe we throw in another DPS character and we get ourselves a Tiger Lily in there. All right, so we've got a pretty solid team. Okay, now that we have covered kind of what goes into creating a team for Cookie Run Kingdom, we're going to start talking about the cookies individually. And I've got a pretty cool tier list that we're going to pull up here, and we're going to rank the various cookies. Now, I don't have this as an actual tier list like S, A, B. Instead, I have categories for these cookies that you'll be able to put them in that hopefully will be a little more descriptive and give you a little more idea of what you can do with the cookies. I just don't want to say like this cookie is the best and every other cookie sucks. I want you to know like how good the cookie is, what they're good at, what you can do with them. So that's what we're doing for the purposes of this video. Now I could do this a couple different ways. I could talk about the cookies, you know, based on their role or that kind of stuff. But I think the easiest thing to do is going to be to go through the tier list here as it is, as it's set up, and just kind of improvise on the fly here. So that's what we're going to do. So let's cover the categories real quick. At the very top, we have the top tier cookies that you can invest in heavily with no doubts. Like if you put your resources into these cookies, you are going to be happy regardless. These cookies are either great at all types of content or dang good at all types of content. They're definitely great at a couple of the types of content and at least really good in the other ones. The next tier down is the great picks to invest in. So these are basically the ones that you can heavily invest in if you don't have the better version from the top tier. So let's say you don't have the top tier tank. Well, this would be a tank that you can invest in that is pretty close to the top tier tank. And again, if you were to get the top tier tank later on, you wouldn't really feel bad about having that other tank leveled up and having invested in that tank. The next category we have here is great in one area. So these are cookies that also fall into the solid bridge options category that we're going to talk about, but they're also great in one particular area. So maybe they're really good in arena or really good in PvE or guild battle or something like that, and they're just good in the other ones, but they're great in at least one category. The solid bridge options, these are good cookies that are good for you to use until you can get a great pick or a top tier pick to replace them with. So you shouldn't feel bad about investing in these. I probably would not invest in your solid bridge options beyond level 40 because you are really hoping to get something from the great pick or the top tier category instead to take beyond level 40. But until you get one of those, these are going to be good picks for you to just use and to work with until that point. Now, the great in one area cookies, you may end up investing in them higher than level 40 if you like what they do. For example, if you're really into guild battle and there is a solid bridge cookie who's really great at guild battle, you may invest in that cookie beyond level 40 in order to maximize your results in guild battle. Hopefully that makes sense. Next, we have the tier that's better than commons and rares. So these are the epic cookies that you would definitely use over your commons and over your rares, but that's it. Definitely don't take them past level 40. Definitely replace them as soon as possible. Leave them at level 10, level 15, or whatever if you can, because they are just not that good in any type of content compared to the multitude of other cookies that are available. Then we have a category for niche, commons, and rares. So these are going to be common and rare cookies that normally you would never ever use, but they do have very specific niche uses that I'll cover in this video. And then finally, we have the do not invest category, which is just cookies that you should drop instantly as soon as possible. And this is mostly going to be your commons and your rares. So we're going to do a big dump really quick of the commons and rares that we don't want to invest in because they don't really have any use or any purpose, not even niche ones. And we're going to get those out of the way. So strawberry crepe, ninja cookie, cupid, mussel, wizard cookie, beet cookie. Hopefully I get all these names right. Those are all common cookies. We're not investing in them. Get rid of them as soon as possible. For the rare cookies, princess cookie, night cookie, alchemist cookie, I think, adventurer cookie, blackberry cookie, gumball, onion, pancake, carrot. I forget the name. Mist, green cupid. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember all the names. That's the bad thing about doing it this way. Clover cookie. That's what it is. So don't invest in them. Don't invest in devil cookie. So we should have all of them. Okay, so those are the cookies we are not investing in. Okay, as soon as possible, move on to something else. So obviously there's a couple cookies here left. So let's talk about the niche commons and rares. We're going to have Ginger Brave cookie. So Ginger Brave cookie is a niche common that you may want to invest in at least up to like level 40 because he is used for some specific quests and achievements that sometimes pop up. Some are permanent. Some of them pop up every now and again in the event area of the game, and you may need gingerbread or Ginger Brave cookie leveled up for that. So it's okay to level him up to about 40, maybe get his skill to about 40. Definitely not in place of anyone else, but just when you have time and you have the spare skill powders and stuff, you can get him up. Also, he is used in one specific PvP comp, enough that he actually could come up to great in one area, but I don't want to push him that high because you really have to want to run that one specific comp, and it also has to be really good in whatever meta is going on, so we're going to keep him down in the niche commons and rares. Next up, we have Custard Cookie the Third. Custard Cookie the Third is a niche common and rare because there aren't an overwhelming amount of healer cookies in the game right now. So if you have been unfortunate and you have not gotten an epic or higher level healer cookie, then Custard Cookie the Third is your best option, and he is worth investing in up to level 40 and skill level 40 if you don't get another healing cookie. So don't feel bad about investing in him as your primary healer if you don't get a epic or higher one earlier on in your play. And then finally, the last niche common and rare that I'm going to put in here is going to be Cherry Bomb Cookie. So Cherry Bomb Cookie is good because there are some levels in the tower where you are required to only use 4 epic or higher cookies. So you need a 5th cookie that's either a common or rare cookie. And most of the common and rare cookies suck, and you won't have been investing in them. Unfortunately, Ginger Brave gets trashed in the front row when you're in those levels. And Custard Cookie the Third, if you don't have a better healer than him, you're probably not going to get to those levels or beat those levels. So you don't really want to bring one of those. However, Cherry Bomb Cookie is a cookie that you can get to level 40 and you don't even have to level her skill. You can keep her skill at level 1, and her skill does a 2-second stun to the enemy, which brings a nice utility, and it stops the enemy and gives your actual good team time to defeat the enemy and beat the level. So in those specific instances, I think Cherry Bomb is one of the best rare cookies that you can use for those situations. So those are the 3 common and rare niche cookies that I do recommend in those specific circumstances that you level up. Okay, so let's get into the cookies that are just better than commons and rares, but not really anything better than that. So we're going to have Werewolf Cookie is going to be in there. We're going to have Sparkling Cookie in there. Oh, we forgot Avocado. She goes down here too. If I miss one, I'll throw it in there, but avocados I do not invest as well. We've got Chili Pepper Cookie. Let's see. We've got Purple Yam Cookie. Who else do we have? Kumiho Cookie. Cupid. Fig. And that is probably going to be it. I'm actually going to put Tails and Sonic in here as well. Okay, so let's cover these cookies really quick. So Werewolf is a charge cookie who just is very underwhelming compared to all the other DPS cookies in the game. And you're going to see that in general, you have so many options for cookies that can deal damage that a lot of the cookies that might be higher up in this categorization just don't make it that high because you have so many options, right? You don't have as many options for heals or defense cookies and stuff like that. So some of those, even though they're not like amazing, they still go higher up on the list because you just don't have that many options. However, for damage dealing cookies, you have a lot of options. And as a damage dealing cookie, Werewolf just doesn't cut it. It's kind of the same thing with Sparkling Cookie. Sparkling Cookie is a healing cookie, and pretty much every other healing cookie in the game, aside from Cookie Custard the Third, is better than him. Same thing with Chili Pepper Cookie. She's ambush and just not that great. We've got Kumiho, who I believe is a charge cookie. Not that great. Same with Yam. He's basically an upgraded version of Strawberry Cookie, which still is just not that good. We've got Cream Puff Cookie, who you can only get through the guild gacha. So she's really difficult to get, and she's just not that good. Same thing with Fig Cookie. And the reason I put Tails and Sonic here is because a lot of you aren't going to have Tails and Sonic. Even if you have Tails and Sonic, you're not going to be able to star them up because they were limited during an event. So if you don't have Tails and Sonic, it doesn't matter. If you have Tails and Sonic and they're only at like no stars or 1 star, then you're going to be able to invest in a better cookie than them and get them up to more stars over time, which automatically just drops them down on the list. And if you happen to have Tails and Sonic Cookie, either one, and you've got a lot of stars invested in them, then I would probably put them as solid bridge options or great picks to invest in, depending on how much you like the cookie. But for most people that I think are going to be watching this video, I think they're down here as just better than commons and rares if you happen to have them. Okay, let's go into the solid bridge options here. Actually, we're gonna go up to the top tier. We're gonna skip. We're not doing this. We're going straight to the top tier. Okay, so let's go to the top tier cookies that you absolutely can invest in and not feel bad at all, in my opinion. Okay, so we're gonna go and grab out. So we got Vampire, Dark Choco. We got Licorice Cookie. We've got Black Raisin. We've got Pure Vanilla, Strawberry Crepe, Sea Fairy Cookie, Sorbet Shark Cookie. We've got Hollyberry Cookie, Cotton Cookie, Pumpkin Pie Cookie, the Frost Queen Cookie, and I think we're going to leave it at that. I think those are my top tier invest heavily picks. Again, some of these are community consensus. A few of them are a little skewed by my opinion, so keep that in mind. But we're going to go in and talk about these now. So obviously your legendary cookies, I already mentioned, are just really good investments. So Frost Queen Cookie is relatively new, so we still have to see how she kind of shakes out in terms of power level. I think she's going to be a rock solid option. The legendary cookies always are. She's got a great freeze, so you could definitely invest in her if you happen to get her and not feel bad at all. Sea Fairy Cookie is probably the best DPS in the game, like hands down, outside of guild battle. So if you get her, invest in her. Just trust me, she is absolutely devastating in PvP and PvE. Vampire Cookie is a fantastic cookie for guild boss battle. He's really good at bosses in PvE, and he's really good at sniping targets in PvP. So you can invest fairly heavily into Vampire Cookie, and I think you'll feel pretty good. Dark Choco is a solid tank. He's probably the third best tank in the game in general, in my opinion, and the best tank at guild boss battle. So if you really care about guild boss battle, he's the one to invest in, or if you just have him, he's probably one of the best tanks you're going to get. Licorice Cookie is a rock solid summoning cookie that does a whole lot. He does damage, he summons minions, he gives you a defensive boost. He is so good in all forms of content. He's good in guild battle, PvE, and PvP, and that's why I say he's an easy top tier investment. It's not that there aren't cookies that are better than him, it's just that the cookies that are better than him are freaking amazing, and he's also amazing. So there's no reason to look at him and go, but maybe I should hold out. No, he's a fantastic cookie, great to use. Black Raisin Cookie is one of the best ambush cookies in the game, great in all forms of content. You can feel free to heavily invest in her. She's also the cool emo raven like cookies, so I love her. But yeah, she's probably she's tied in my opinion for like first place for best non-boss ambush cookie in the game. Okay, Vampire is the best bossing ambush cookie. She's tied for the best all-around ambush cookie. Pure Vanilla is a healing cookie who's just an absolute monster in all forms of content. He puts shields up and he heals your cookies. He's amazing. I got him luckily in like the first couple of 10 pulls that I did, and I've been using him forever, and he's insane. Strawberry Crepe Cookie is the best epic tank in the game outside of guild battle, where Dark Choco is the champion. But for PvP and PvE and any other type of, off-brand PvE, PvP content, she is the best tank that you can get. So if you get her, invest in her like crazy. Sorbet Shark is the other ambush cookie that's tied with Black Raisin for best all-purpose ambush cookie in the game. So you can invest in him. He's good in guild boss battle. He's good in PvP and PvE. Hollyberry is the best tank in the game at everything except for guild battle. So Strawberry Crepe is the best epic. Hollyberry is the best, hands down. She's really good for guild battle as well. I just think Dark Choco has the edge because of his ability. But if you get Hollyberry, invest in Hollyberry. Just trust me. She is an absolute stupid monster and so annoying in PvP. She's so annoying in PvP, but absolutely amazing. We have Cotton Cookie, who is the newest cookie that came out along with the Frost Queen, and we don't need to wait for things to settle down to see where she is. She is amazing in everything. PvP, PvE, and guild battle. She is fantastic on all of them. She stuns, she heals, she does DPS, she boosts all your summons. She's insane, okay? If you get Cotton Cookie, which you should have her, invest in her. She's really good. And then we have Pumpkin Pie Cookie, who is the most recent after Cotton Cookie and Frost Queen Cookie. And she is another cookie that has just come out really strong in all forms of content, guild boss, PvP, and PvE. She's really cool, and she's just performs really well in all that content. So you can't go wrong with investing in her. So those are my top tier, like you should definitely invest in these cookies. So let's take a look at, we're going to jump down and go to the cookies that are solid bridge options. So these are cookies that you can invest in if you're still waiting to get a top tier or a great cookie, which we'll get into the great cookies here in a minute. So we're going to drop down. Now that we've got all hyped up about the top tier cookies, let's look at some cookies that, you may hit and you may be able to use in between. So we've got Tiger Lily cookie. We've got Mint Choco cookie. Pomegranate cookie. We've got Snow Sugar cookie. Milk cookie. We've got Espresso cookie. Red Velvet cookie. I'm trying to remember names here. Squid Ink cookie. And that's pretty much it, I think. So these cookies are all solid options to kind of get you to where you're going. Some of them do have some notable things about them, so I'm going to cover them here. Tiger Lily Cookie is just generally good. She might even be worth putting in great in one area or great picks. She is part of a cheese PvP comp. If you like that comp and it's actually viable in the meta, she has a stun and does a pretty good amount of damage and is immune when she is riding her tiger. So she's just an all-around good cookie. And if you really like her, I would say you could move her up to great picks. But there are just some better cookies in general than her, especially if you get, someone like Vampire or Black Raisin. Mint Choco Cookie is a cookie who is a healer and a support. He is used in a niche PvP comp that if you really enjoy that comp, it's called Speed Comp. You could put him in there. It might be worth moving him up to great in one area as well. But just in general, because he is a healer, I think that it's important to keep in mind that outside of that one area, I mean, he's a support cookie, but you know what I'm saying. He heals. Outside of that one area, he's not going to be as good as the other healing cookies that are above him. So I don't think he's as worthy of investment unless you specifically want to do this particular comp. Okay. Pomegranate is an all-around just good support and healer that you can use until you get a better one. Milk Cookie is a solid tank that you can use until you get a better tank. Snow Sugar Cookie is a decent summoner. She has gotten better, especially if you combine her with Cotton Cookie and the new summoning treasure. So we're waiting to see. She got bumped up a little bit in the overall tier list, but I'm still not convinced that she's going to be fantastic. Then we have Espresso Cookie, who is a solid magic cookie that you can use until you get a better one. And then we have Red Velvet, who again is a solid charge cookie, I believe, who is part of a PvP comp that's not as popular as many of the others. And then we have Squid Ink Cookie, who is a beast at AoE damage, but does get outclassed by other magic cookies because of their utility or because they're just insane, like Sea Fairy Cookie. So I used her for quite a while. She's a good solid option if you want to use her. Okay, so let's get into the great in one area. So we're going to have Poison Cookie. We're going to have Madeline. We're going to have Almond Cookie. We're going to have Pastry Cookie. Lilac Cookie. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead, let's bump Mint Choco and let's bump Tiger Lily up here to great in one area. I mentioned Tiger Lily is great for a particular PvP comp. So is Mint Choco Cookie. If we get into the rest of these, Poison Mushroom is the boss of guild boss battles. He does insane damage to the dragon over time. And he is just fantastic. If you care about guild boss battle, you're going to want to get a Poison Mushroom. And you're going to want to level him up as much as you can. Outside of that, he's not that great. He's a solid bridge option or possibly better than a common and rare. He's somewhere in here outside of guild battles. Madeline Cookie is a solid bridge option for sure, but excels in the speed comp that Mint Choco is part of. So he gets the great in one area for that. Almond Cookie is also great in linking into some particular PvP builds and allowing single target damage to branch out into multi-target damage. So overall, Almond is down here at better than commons and rares if you're not using him for one of those PvP comps or a very specific niche comp for something else like PvP or PvE or maybe guild battle. But because he is useful in those situations, we're putting him in the great in one area. Pastry Cookie is another solid bridge option that is also really good in the speed comp PvP team. So she goes in great in one area. Exact same thing for Lilac. Lilac, outside of the PvP speed comp, is down here at better than commons and rares. But if you want to play them in that composition, then they're great in one area. So keep in mind that just because they're in the great in one area does not mean necessarily that they are a solid bridge option. Okay, just to refresh, poison mushroom, almond cookie, and lilac cookie. If you're not using them in those specific places, they're down here. Better than commons and rares, okay? So keep that in mind. The other cookies, if you want to play those PvP teams and you also just like them and want to use them, then they're all solid bridge options in my opinion. So then obviously the rest of these cookies are going to fall into great picks to invest in. And we're going to put them all up here. And actually, I'm going to make one slight change. I'm going to move Mango to a bridge option. And I'm going to move Latte down to a bridge option. And also, we're going to pull her here. Yeah, okay. So this is, I made a couple changes here on the fly. So let's bounce back. Latte Cookie is a solid bridge option. She is good in all forms of content, but there are just better cookies that you can get than her. She has kind of been outclassed over time. So there's going to be, just in general, better cookies you might want to invest in, such as pumpkin pie or cotton cookie. And then Mango Cookie is a solid option for an AoE cookie if you don't have one. Much like Squid Ink, she may be a little bit better than Squid Ink, but just in general, she's another magic cookie that you're probably going to want to find something that has a little bit more utility there as well. And then I also pulled Raspberry Cookie down into great in one area because Raspberry Cookie is a solid bridge option for all content, but has a very strong presence in PvP, so she does get that great in one area rating. Now, for the rest of these, Herb Cookie is pretty much one of the best healers in the game, so he's not as good as Pure Vanilla or Cotton Cookie, but he is right up there next to them, so he's a great pick to invest in. And if you were to invest in him and then get one of these other cookies, you wouldn't feel bad about having invested in him and being able to put him on like a second team if you needed to. Rye Cookie is a very solid single target boss killer, much like Vampire. So if you don't have Vampire, but you have Rye Cookie, in a lot of the situations you'd want to use Vampire, you can use Rye Cookie instead. Parfait is a really solid support and healing cookie, probably second to Cotton Cookie in general. She's good at buffing and healing your team, great in PvP and PvE. Moon Rabbit Cookie is pretty much the best epic defense cookie that you can get outside of a Strawberry Crepe Cookie. Keep in mind that Dark Choco is a charge cookie, not a defense cookie. And just in general, he's better in all forms of content than the other defense cookies that we've listed down here. Mala Sauce Cookie is a charge cookie that has lots of good uses in all content, can serve as a tank or a damage dealer in your team, and also provide some great buffs to your team. And then finally, Twizzly Gummy Cookie is a ranged cookie that does a good amount of damage and also has some really good use in all forms of content except for maybe guild battle, because her special move will remove shields. So overall, these cookies, if you invested in them and then got any of these cookies, you wouldn't feel bad about investing in these cookies at all. And honestly, if we're just talking, any of the solid bridge options are cookies you can continue to use on your Mayhem teams or when you have specific requirements. Like let's say your team was, like my team is Dark Choco, Vampire, Black Raisin, Pure Vanilla, and then I usually have some kind of fifth that I float around depending on what I'm doing. It's been Cotton Cookie or Pumpkin Cookie or Licorice most of the time, but normally, well actually it's Sea Fairy. So I have Sea Fairy, Vampire, Dark Choco, Black Raisin, and Pure Vanilla as the main team that I run. So all that being said, sometimes they say, hey, you can only have one assassin. Well, or one ambush cookie, and I have Vampire and Black Raisin, so I have to swap one of them out and pull somebody else in. And honestly, I don't feel bad about pulling like anybody in this area into my team if I need them for a specific reason. So This is my tier list. Like I said, this is a combination of personal opinion and also just general community consensus on a lot of cookies. You're going to find the most gray area from the solid bridge level up because some people value some cookies more than others. So just keep that in mind. But I think that if you follow this and you follow the idea of replace your commons with rares, replace your rares with epics, and if you get the legendaries or the ancient cookies, then use those. I think if you follow those rules, you're going to be really set. If you have questions about specific team building and things like that, maybe that's a video that we can do where you can show me what cookies you have, and I can tell you what cookies I think you should invest in and what types of teams you could build. But otherwise, let me know in the comment section below what other sort of questions you have, and we can go from there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you have a better idea of which cookies you should be investing in as you go through your playthrough and which ones you should be trying to get as you go on. Like I said, keep tuned into the channel for the future patches for Cookie Run Kingdom, where I'll be covering new content, new cookies, and whether or not certain cookies got better or worse. All right, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget that if you want to join me in playing Cookie Run Kingdom, I'm on the Hollyberry server. I'm running a guild out here that you're welcome to join if you want. We are called Dragons for Dessert. As of the making of this video, we are in the top 9% on the server for the guild battle. So we do pretty well, but I would love to have more people that want to come in and want to, make progress on the dragon and just talk Cookie Run Kingdom and have a good time together. So let me know if you want to join. Feel free. I'd love to have you. And yeah, that's all I got for you in this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.